Uh, our third speaker is an interesting individual. Once in a while, in the realm of corporate Philippines and Philippine business, a jewel of a professional manager, not an owner, rises to the top, not only of the company, but of a conglomerate, and one of the biggest conglomerates in the country, that is. Our last keynote speaker is a CPA who at age 34 became one of the youngest partners of SGV. And at that time, he took charge of the firm's Chinese group accounts, which include Henry C. and John Gokongwei. After his retirement from SGV, he joined SM Investments Corporation as Chief Financial Officer, where he was recognized by various award-giving bodies as one of the Asia's best CFOs. He graduated from professional management to professional governance, or professional directorship. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the chairman of the board of the SM Investments Corporation, my idol and my kasimanwa from Iloilo, Jose Tan Xiao.
My friends and colleagues in the finance world, when I entered this room and sat on that table, the first question I asked is there a press people around? Then he pointed me 2 tables. I said, my God. Hi. Friends tayo, ha? But I recall that they also told me not to speak to a crowd of the day, 2 to 3 o'clock. Because Filipino by customs, this is the siesta time. It will be a challenge to me then to give my speech to be more interesting, more informative, and useful to you so that I can capture and maintain your attention. In SM Group, we have a unit called Investor Relations. I guess most of the listed company has that. This is headed by no other than Tim Daniel down there. He can summon me as the chairman. He can summon anybody in our office if he needs help. Is that they go around the world at least once every year to visit our shareholder, not to raise any funds, but to tell them what we are doing, where we are doing, where we are going, and what we will do. This is part of our corporate governance. And so, knowing that I will talk today, I have a conversation with him last Monday. They just finished visiting the USA and Europe. I say, Tim, what's happening to our stock market? What happened to our economy? This is just an introduction. Huh? My main speech is different. So that's why when I came here, before I accepted this, I asked Ms. Evelyn Sengson here, how much time do I have? 20 minutes? Forget it. Sabi ko, kung 20 minutes, wag na lang. Because it will be unfair to you as an audience if I cannot give you something useful, something informative, and something interesting when you get out from this room. So I say, give me 1 hour. Mahaba yan. It's too long. Evelyn is my colleague in SGV, so we are friends. After someone, so they give me 45 minutes. Okay. So I talked to Tim. Tim, what's up? Last year, our stock market went up by 30%. 30. Of course, SM went up by 50%. This year, January to July, our stock market went down by 16%. If you are a foreign investor, in January, you'll be losing not only 16%, but over 20% because of the foreign exchange. Last year, the worry question being asked by the foreign investor is mostly political, because our President Duterte was on his first year, and there was so many, publicity about our president, and some and most of the investors, foreign investors, are a little scared, are a little worried. This year, they love him. No question being asked. What he said is what you get. They said, what he said is what you get. That's what the investor wants, to know where is the country going. This year, the worry is not political, it's economy. Where is your economic team? Where is the country going? Where is your PPP? Bill, or something like that. Where is that? Where is your industries? Basic industries, factories, etc. That is a basic industry sustainable for a growth of a developing countries like the Philippines. Our economy is being supported by OFW, by call center, but then these are the industries that are not sustainable. Who knows? Call center may be gone 5 years from now. Robot will take place. It's reality. Some countries are now doing it. It's a reality, it will come. OFW, the social cost is just so much. It cannot be made as a national policy. If our OFW is more of a professional people, etc., fine. That is our export. But if our exports is otherwise, then the social cost is just too much for a country. That is not sustainable for a long term. Where is your inflation going? Where is your interest going? Where is the stock going? These are questions being asked. What is your economic team being done to address this question? And so I asked, how long will this be? How long will this be? Last night, Dow Jones went down by 112 points. I guess our stock yesterday and today is still going down. While it's stabilized, the bias is still going to the south. How long will this be? Too bad. When it rains, it pours. If you study the movements of international market Philippine market, Philippine economy, international economy. And if you stress 20 years back, you see a pattern of up and down. Generally, the behavior is between 8 to 10 years up, then you go down, you go up again. That's the rule of life. Otherwise, banker has no business. Otherwise, accountant, you and I, has no business. Who will invest if everything is just normal? It has to be going up and going down. Sometimes I suspect that this is being done by certain group of bankers, certain group of big-time stockbrokers. Otherwise, how could they sustain their business? It has to be up and down. And 20 years, to this year is the 9th year of up for the Philippines. It's time to correct. It's time to correct. That's one. Second, if you see the debt, international debt that will mature in the next decade, in the next 10 years, how much will it be? That's 250 trillion US dollar will mature in the next 10 years. That is up by almost 35% the last 10 years. Because the last 10 years has been soft economy, interest rates is low, happy, everybody. So we have now again experiencing another possible debt crisis in the next 10 years. There are some worry now. It could be that during the last 10 years, there are so many funds which are invested in an elephant project that does not produce its result. And this may bump up. Look at Europe. Europe, you have now Greece, Lebanon. You have now South America, Brazil, Argentina. Debt is popping up. Debt crisis is popping up. And it's a signal. It's a signal that may come a crisis somewhere, somehow. It does not need to take a big countries to have a debt crisis. One medium-sized crisis, then the bank will be affected, the other bank will get scared, etc., and risk profile will be up. So, when is this stock be corrected? I don't know. We don't know. You're now talking about the trade war. Trump changed everything of what has been the U.S. policy in the last centuries. He does not care about the world. He cares about the U.S., which is right. He is against China. He is against Europe. He is against Canada. Everything. But for America, he is working for America. Never mind about you. So, the worry now is if that crisis in China, he started with taxing import to the U.S. from China of 50 billion. Then the Chinese say, okay, I will match you. Anything that you import to China up to the 50 billion, I will also tax. Then Trump, being a businessman, he knows his card. The total import of the U.S. from China is almost over 400 trillion. The import of China from the U.S. is less than 400 trillion. So Trump knows. Sige, imas mo, I will up now 200. From 50, he is now up to 200. And the Chinese keep quiet. Because China cannot match. Cannot match. But the worry there is not only China. China has plenty of cash. China has plenty of gas. But the worry is, they say, if trade war gets worse, the first one to be affected will be Asia, countries in Asia. Because countries in Asia relies on export. Korea, good in the Philippines, we are not an export country. But you look, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Indonesia, Thailand, export-oriented economy. These will be the countries will be hit. Once the trade down goes into full blossom. China, they got an international reserve of 4 trillion US dollars. China alone. If you consider the greater China, which include Hong Kong and Taiwan, then you got almost 6 trillion US dollar of international reserve. How much do we have reserved in the Philippines? 80 billion. We're talking about 6 trillion. Where is that money? Where is that money of China of 6 trillion? They lend it to the US in US trade because they buy the US Treasury bond because there is no other instrument. But it's only in US dollar. So China cannot fight US on the long term because Trump will say, sige, awayin mo ko, hindi ko kayo babayaran. Simple. So, I don't know when things will recover. It has to be something, you know, our foreign FDI, what a foreign development investment, something like that. Direct investment. In the last year, Singapore has $45 billion. We have $8 billion. And we are already happy because it is 30% up from, it is as if you are working in the Philippines, you are receiving US dollar because we are much ahead. Now, it's the other way around. Huh? Taiwan, Korea, Indonesia, even Thailand, they are much ahead than us. Something is wrong with us. Something is wrong with us. I can talk this later on. But before I forget, let me go to my assigned topic of challenges from a private to a public company. Yeah. Okay? Are you okay? Yeah. Okay. I was watching Celine Dion last night. She is good. She cannot only sing, but she can interact with the audience. She can dance. She is 50 years old, but she attracts all the crowd there. Can you move it back? Before I do that, let me give you some background of where I come from, so then you will appreciate what I'm talking. Right? I started my career as a sugar trader, as a sugar exporter, because I am from Iloilo. So at that time in the year 1700, something like that, if you are, no, 1970, yeah, 1970. At that time, if you're a sugar trader, you're a sugar magnet. This, you're a baron, you know. At that time, the sugar is the industries of the Philippines. I was working with Joe Marichan. His father is a sugar Mongol. So we cover Visayas and Mindanao, Sulu, Tawi-Tawi. I've been there. Bukidnon. I can tell you my experience in another speech, maybe. But suffice is to say, I have learned that we, you and I, may be different culture, maybe different religion, maybe different belief. When we work in business, You may go from A to B to C and something like that, but others may go to A to C, no? But at the end, there is a common denominator among these basic businessmen. What are these? Work hard and persistence. Persistency and work hard. Then from that sugar trader, I went to a professional firm in SGV. Because I can speak Chinese, was sent me to open offices in Taiwan, in Korea, in Singapore. That was the expansion of GV at the time. Okay? And what? Taiwan at that time, you know, our office there, wala kong tulugan. I sleep on my table. I took a bath in the bathroom. Kabo lang. But that teaches me the value of work. That teaches me the value of work. From there, and by the way, they say that 10 years from now, there will be only 3 languages in Asia. English, Chinese, Japanese. In the world, there will be only 5 languages. Chinese, English, Chinese, Japanese, Spanish, Russian. So those of you who are still have no girlfriend or boyfriend, look for a Chinese or Japanese girlfriend. Or if your daughter or son, encourage them to learn Chinese or Japanese in this part of the world, because that is the future of business. No if and but, it's there already. And so, from the SGB, I came back to the Philippines after my stint in New York University, which was also sent me as a scholar. Ayaw ko na sana babalik. Punta si Suwas doon sa US. And then sinabi, Joe, you have to go back. You owe it to the Filipino staff. I'll start with that. So I come back. When I come back, he put me as in charge of the Chinese client, which include Mr. C, Liu Xiutan, etc. What's the common denominator against this stipend? Hard work, perseverance. It's there. And it's proven. How come that these countries, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, where 20 years ago, we are much ahead, and now, sumipa sila. They are much ahead. Because we work, they work 7 days a week. Chinese, 7 days a week. They don't count. And that's the complaint of the foreign investor in the Philippines. Sabi na, you know, the Filipinos are good people. Good. Very happy, looking, smiling always, etc. The problem is, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they already make up. Preparing to go home at 5 o'clock. We have to work on this because we have shipment on Saturday. Oh yes, no problem. We'll do it. Oh, come Saturday, it's not finished. Never mind, we can wait until Monday. The culture of mañana habit that we took from Spain. Too bad. So anyway, what am I now? How did I transform from professional and to a private corporation. Every year, I sit down with Henry C., Mr. C., because I was the partner in charge, and then the closing interview, etc. After 2 years, he say, Joe, you asked too many questions. Why don't you sit in that door? Without me knowing that when I sit in that door, I never get up for the next 25 years. In his room, he has an adding machine. Yung ganun-ganun pang adding machine. Every day, tawag na yan hapon, Joe, you see our sales total? Ganun nga. Joe, did you see our expenses? We had net cash of so much. Simple, but very effective. One time, I took taxi. From North Asia coming over here. And he saw the voucher of taxi and then he called me, Joe, ba't ka ng taxi? May jeep yan, oh. Oh, Mr. C. He saw only, the difference is only about, at that time, only 10 pesos. It's not a question of money. I'm not talking of peso and cents. I am the culture. I'm talking about the culture of savings. Savings. So this is just one of the important. But he called Mr. Sisip. Sisip, Joshua is joining with me. Then Sisip called me up and scolded me. Joe, how come you're talking to Henry C. without letting me know? Then he called Sisip again. Mr. C. Mr. C, Joseph is in front of me. I will not let him go. I can send you other partner and you can choose what you want. Mr. C said, kung hindi si Joseph, wag na lang. Well, at that time, I was only 50. And the rules of SGB is optional option at the age of 50 with the consent of the firm. Without his consent, I cannot go. But Bobby Yongpin intercede. Bobby Yongpin intercede. He say, was, we cannot antagonize a client. So he was convinced to let me go. But we are already friends with CC. But that's the story of how I joined SM. But why did I join SM? I see the potential in SM. I see the leadership in SM. Because he was already talking of being number one in banking when at that time, he has an Acme Savings Bank, which is video now. So, malit lang yan. He wants to be the biggest property developer when we don't have. What we have is only Galleria Magallanes. I don't know if you are familiar. In Magallanes, that Galleria Magallanes, he established that. But that is the project that he has. But he wants to be number one. He wants to be number one in retail. Dreaming already. And I see that he is serious at it. So I told him, Mr. Sisip, that's a very good dream. But when are you going to realize this? If you say you want to be number one in bank, you want to be number one in property, and you want to be number one in retail, would you realize this in your lifetime? At that time, he is already almost 50 years old. Then I said, what do you think, Rodiba? I said, the only way is to use others people's money. Others people's money. Yeah, what? How can I use the other people? We go public. We go IPO. But, sabi ko sa kanya, we can use money, but make sure that we deliver what we say. If we say that we will create 20 malls in 5 years' time, make sure you make 20 or more malls in 5 years. Otherwise, you'll be out. We will be out. We will be ignored. He said, no. He's very, no, we can go. Then he say, but there are too many problems, as well. There are too many problems, there are too many questions, there are too many taxes, there are, Mr. C, let's do it. And effectively, let me help you do it. Oh, sabi niya, okay. So, you know, we started every night. After 5:30, he was staying at Tuscany at that time. Every night, we'd go to his apartment, and then I made a lecture to our staff of what the public company will be, how it will be. It's already in mind setting of our staff, of our executive. That's how we started. At that time, we made the IPO, and we get something like 500 million US dollar at a PE of about 19 PE ratio. Today, of course, our PE ratio is almost 30 plus. And from that, we grow, and we go public. And it is not we who is requesting, but it is now the investor requesting us to issue more shares. It is now the shareholder, the debt banks, that is requesting, when are you going to issue more bonds? That's how we started. And so, where we are now? I said, where we are now? Let me see. Okay. We will start now. My agenda. Okay, this is my agenda of my talk, right? I will show you what we are now. After the 25 years that I've been with SM. When I started, SM, we just have 2 department stores, one in Makati and one in downtown Manila. And we have only 1 shopping mall, the SM North EDSA. And we have only 1 savings bank, Acme Savings Bank, downtown Quiapo. And we have only 1 property, as I said, Galleria de Magallanes. 25 years, 27 years, this is what we are now. This is not because of me, but because of the vision, persistence, and the leadership style of Henry C. Oh God, can you see? This is what I'm afraid. No, next time, IR, make the color more, transparent. Okay. SM Investment, we have 3 core business: retail, banking, property. Then 2 years ago, we started another core: portfolio investment. Portfolio investment is an investment to a company that we see has long-term prospect, that we see have the same business philosophy with us, that have a good management. We don't intend to manage the company where we invested in that core business, but rather to help them out as they go along. So, banking, retail. Of course, we have 3 retail group: food, department store, specialty store. Specialty store, these are Ace Hardware, Watson, Uniqlo, ano pa dyan, no? All together, we have about 2,100 stores throughout the Philippines. 2,100 stores in the Philippines. Banking, video, and China Bank. Combined, they have almost, 2,000 of branches throughout the Philippines. Property SM Prime. Under SM Prime, we have the mall, which is, we have now almost 70 malls in the Philippines, 7 in China. Residential, this is the SM Development Corporation. I don't know how many condominium that they have now. Anybody? Team, how many condo? 15,000. Okay. Residential, commercial is just, if you go to Mall of Asia, the master plan there will be 6 commercial center. What's that? Commercial center. These are the big 12 floors, 15 floors structure that we have. So you see Ecom 1, Ecom 2, Ecom 3. That is the master plan. There will be 6 of that. Okay. Of course, my room is open to the sea. In other words, my room, I see the parking space and then the sea. Now, bahala na sila mag-put up ng mga housing dyan, huwag doon sa parking kasi wala makita yung, mawala kong view ng bay. No? Hotel, exhibit. Of course, we have the Conrad Hotel, and then we have this, what hotel is that in Subic in Davao? Park Inn Hotel, the favorite of our president in Davao, right? Radisson Blue, things like that. The Taal Vista Hotel, we own that. Okay. Leisure is Pico de Loro, and we have the Tagaytay Highland. We have a large chunk of land in Zamboanga, not Zamboanga, in Hamilocos, yeah, okay. Also, we have a big chunk of land in Palawan, awaiting for the right moment, and we have been talking to our government agencies. Let's make our road accessible. Let's make our environment peaceful, and we are ready to invest. Not only we, but there are other major groups just waiting for the right moment. Because you look at the Philippines. The location is just right in the center. Philippines has everything. Sea, mountain, food, people, beautiful girls. Right? Agree? Oh. Because there are signs already since last year that call center is stagnating or in fact decreasing. Big time Deutsche Bank, JP Morgan, Citibank. They won't sign a long-term contract now. Before, they signed 5 years rent contract. This year, starting last year, no, they do not sign longer. They want to sign only every year, which means an indication that they are not sure of the future of that call center business. Robot won't take in. Or another technology could take over that business. Street mall, city mall, city mall, natural resources, Atlas mining, and also the oil, logistic. This is to go, and inside it, we are preparing all the warehousing, because you watch, the next 5 years, there will be major transformation of the business. I understand in Singapore, there is already a machine. You hook up to your body, and that machine can tell you what's wrong with your body. And it can print out a prescription for you. So doctors will be out. The technology, I was informed about this, what's that? Blockchain. Blockchain, which it can store data, which can take care of, just like a general ledger. Give another 5 years, accounting people will be out. And in fact, there is a study. If we continue to allow this disruptor, this digital, this technology, if we continue to let them move ahead, in 10 years' time, those that are 40 years old right now, which is most of us, will be irrelevant. Because technology will take our place. I understand in Norway or Sweden, they are now taxing heavily this technology company, this disruptor, heavily, 80%, 90%, because they got all the money. And the government is now distributing this money to the jobless people. Scary. Scary. So, mag-asawa kayo, boyfriend, girlfriend, hi, girlfriend, boyfriend, look for a ganong marami. So, you're secured. Biro lang yan, ha, para gigising kayo. Okay, leisure entertainment, plus the city of dream, etc. How come this city of dreams, this Soler, this is now the darling of some of the investors? You know why? It's not, if you go in resort world, if you go in Soler, it's not in the, yung mga machine doon o sa mga table, the money is not there. The money is on the second floor. These are the high flyer. High flyer. They come here Friday afternoon. They go out Sunday evening or Monday morning. Chinese, Indians, the Middle East people, where they cannot play on their country. Puntas la dito. And we got everything here, as I said. So, all of this is a gamut of a conglomerate that is now in the Philippines. We are the #1 bank, we are the #1 property development, and we are the and the retail business. And this was accomplished in the vision of Henry C. in only 60 years. This year we are celebrating our 60th anniversary. From a sari store and to this conglomerate called SM. And you cannot compare this. Seldom you can compare where a conglomerate was accomplished to what they are now in just 60 years. Some group of companies were able to do it in generations, several generations. Okay, so this is what we are now to understand SM. If this is just to show the market cap of SM, this is SM Investments. SM Investment market cap 1.1 trillion. SM Prime 1.5 trillion. BDO market cap 600 billion.